Really?
Go.
GM friends, and welcome to zazoome. I'm Sherry Barbera, and today we're talking about art for your generative NFT project. Woohoo! And it is super important that you start with 4 calculations. You have to do these for your NFT project before you even start your art. Why? Well, first of all, you've got to know the number of NFTs that you want in your total collection so that you know how many layers you need and how many traits and how many properties. The way that you do that is to decide, do you want a 10K project? Do you want a 5K project? Maybe it's a 1K project. Maybe you're doing 100 total. You want to figure out first exactly how many of those you are going to do. The reason for that is you are going to be multiplying your traits with your layers to get the total quantity that you desire. For example, if you're making 10,000, you're doing a 10K generative project, and for example, you have 4 layers. What do I mean by layers? What I mean by layers is that you have a background, you have a shape, a character shape, and you have things that go on that character like eyes and a mouth. And when we look at this, background, body, eyes, and mouth, those are 4 layers. And they start in the back and they layer forward. So you always start in the back and layer forward. Well, you will need 10 traits per layer to end up with 10,000. How does that work? You end up multiplying those traits by the number of layers. So if you have 10 traits and you have 4 layers, you multiply 10 4 times to achieve 10,000. So 10 times 10 times 10. So 10 times 10, 100. Times 10, 1,000. Times 10 is 10,000. And it really is that simple, but you need to know this because you don't want to have too few traits and maybe you want a lot of layers. So for example, what if you want to do a 3,000 unique NFT generative collection, but you have 5 layers, a background, a body, eyes, mouth, and hair. Now you need 5 traits per layer. So you want to do 5, well, that should be not 4 times, that should be 5 times. You want to do 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. But you don't actually come up with exactly 3,000. You come up with 3,125. You would have to multiply 4.96 to come up with exactly 3,000. What do you do with those extra 125 NFTs? Well, what's great about that, I'm just going to go to Sal and myself. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, GM.
Good morning, GM.
What you need to do is either you can delete those 125 extra, or this is a fantastic giveaway. This is a great promotion. This is a great way to pay people who are working for you. You pay them in NFTs, assuming that your collection is going to be very successful, which of course you want to always assume your collection is going to be very successful. So those are 2 things that you can do with your NFTs. You can hold on to them and you can save them for when your collection is completely sold out. And then you can give them as a gift to some of your holders, some of your buyers. And these are just 3 things that you could do with those extra NFTs. And that's why it's okay if the calculations aren't exactly perfect. So who's here today? Let's see. GM time, welcome and thank you so much for being here. Rob is here. Hello, Rob. Great to see you and thank you so much for joining us. Dale is here, GM Dale, and we'll see you at happy hour one of these days very, very soon, right? We just saw Rob real soon for happy hour, so it's been so nice to get back into IRL in the real world, right? Instead of just IRL, everything being online like it is now. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat, put them in the comments below. I am going to keep going. Okay, so you need your wonderful mathematical calculations to be sure before you start doing your layers that you get your layers right. What's number 2? Layers, traits, and rarities in your collection. These are 3 things that are massively important. So layers and traits, we just covered how to figure out how many NFTs you are going to be creating. And you can work backwards, you can do it either way. But then rarities. Rarities are massively important because this is why you will get some buyers, some collectors to buy into your project because they only buy rare NFTs. They look for the rare NFTs. And the rare NFTs are the ones that have very limited and very unique traits to them. For example, hair color might be purple in 3 of the NFTs, making purple hair super rare. Maybe pink hair is in 50% of your NFTs, making it pretty common. What if rainbow colored hair is in 5 of your NFTs, making it very, very rare? And then you could have gold hair in 1 NFT, making it super rare. And this is where you decide ahead of time what your rarities are. Why? Because this does add an extra trait. This does add an extra trait within your layer folder. And I'm going to be showing you folders, layers, and traits literally on Photoshop so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I want you to understand why it's so massively important to break down what are you doing in your art for your NFT collection before you even start creating all these layers, because if you forget about rarities, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, you want to do rarities so that there is a reason for collectors to buy into your collection, not just because the art is great, not just because the whole concept of your collection is cool, not just because you're doing something for, let's say, charity or a nonprofit, or for you're helping out artists, or whatever it is that you're doing. These are all great reasons for people to buy into your project, but rarity is massively important. I'm going to go back to number 2, the layers, traits, and rarities in your collection. This is your base character, your properties, and your traits. And you want to start with something that is recognizable. I don't mean it has to be recognizable in the sense that it's a thumbs up. But what I do mean is that when you complete the collection, the shape, just like Bored Ape Yacht Club shape, becomes super recognizable to the people everywhere who view your collection. So it's immediately something that people associate with your collection. And I think this is a really hard thing to do. A lot of people have mimicked Bored Ape. They've mimicked the shape of it. They've mimicked the style of it. They've done knockoffs of it. Why is this really, really, really stupid? It is really, really stupid because it doesn't differentiate you from their collection. And this is what you want. You want to be unique. You want something that stands out. You don't want a shape that everybody says, oh, that's Bored Ape Yacht Club. No, it's not Bored Ape Yacht Club. And another reason why people do this is because they want you to think, oh, it is Bored Ape Yacht Club, and buy into their collection, which I think really stinks. You want to be unique. You want to be your own artist. You want to create your own wonderful individual collection. So think outside of what you see on OpenSea, on Nifty Gateway, on Mintable, on Rarible, on Foundation. Go and look at these marketplaces and look at generative collections and look at the base shape and do your own thing. Don't do what other people are already doing. So, okay, if we start with a recognizable outline like a thumbs up, which everyone is familiar with. And we start to delete the hand. And we look at just the thumb shape. And we say, okay, this is an outline that can become a character really easily. And lo and behold, it is actually a complete generative NFT collection I found on OpenSea after I thought, wow, wouldn't a thumb be a really cool shape? And what they did was they added this fun little ear on the side to differentiate it from a thumb, because it actually is a thumb shape. And look at what it becomes. The final character is a recognizable outline that you can then make a lot of really cool layers and traits with. And this is how I want you to start thinking about, what does my total project, what do I want it to look like? How do I want it to be recognizable? What do I want to add to it? So you start with your base. Then you say, okay, how can I refine that into a shape that looks really, really good? And then what can I add to that that makes it fun, interesting, unique, crazy, exciting, motivating to get people to buy into it? What kind of rarities can I add to it? What can I do to this shape that becomes my shape, that becomes your unique shape? And let's see what you can do. You can make things that are easily duplicatable for yourself. You can remember that when you are creating this specific box, you want to always keep the box size exactly the same. You want to always keep, and what I mean by that is this box, whether it's 800 by 800 pixels, 1,000 by 1,000 pixels, 3,000 by 3,000 pixels, whatever you're doing, you want to keep that shape always the same shape. It doesn't have to be a square either. It can be whatever shape you want it to be. And then the placement of your base character must be exactly the same, so that when you are doing your layers and traits, everything lines up. Keep in mind, it all has to line up. So size and placement, hugely important. Overall size. What will your overall size of your entire collection be? Do you want it to be something like 1,000 by 1,000 pixels, so that when it's printed out, if you are gifting your buyers with actual prints, which you might want to do, it will look really, really good. So you don't want to make it too small, because then you can't make a print that looks really good. So keeping in mind, what is the overall size? The other thing about size and placement is, look at how little space there is here. Very, very little space on the top here. If you are doing big hair, if you are doing high hats, if you wanted to do something on top of a head, this placement wouldn't work. This placement wouldn't work. You would want to move down your character or make the entire character size smaller within your overall box. You want to keep in mind, what is it that you're doing? So pre-sketch some things out for yourself so that you already have an idea of what the overall size should be and where your base shape should fit inside here, so that you have enough room on the top for things like a hat. You see how close that hat is coming here? And what if you wanted something on the side here? You want to think about all of these things ahead of time. And this is why I'm asking you to pre-think what is happening in your collection. Number 3 is the Rarity Score. And it isn't just rarity. It is, what is the score of the rarity of each one of your NFTs? And the way that works is, what is the name of it? What number does it come in the collection? What is the rank of that rarity? And what is the score based on all of the traits? And that's how you figure out the Rarity Score, based on the number of traits. And then finally, what is the rarity distribution in your collection? And this is also so important for you to understand, because it isn't just the number of rare NFTs, it's also how many of them come on your rank as perhaps only 2 out of 10,000, only 25 out of 10,000. These are the things that you really want to think about ahead of time so that you're sure when you're creating your layers and your traits, maybe you need more traits than I initially told you. Maybe you need 10 traits within your layer of eyes so that you have that small percentage of rare ones that will have just those crazy diamond eyes. Let's say you just want to do diamond eyes or diamond hands or something like that you just want to do a few of. So you want to make a graph for yourself. The x-axis of the graph represents the NFTs. Those are your assets. The y-axis of the graph represents the corresponding rarity score. So you want to look at the final total. And this is something that you can go online and you can just type in how to do this, and you can do this for yourself. Keeping in mind that the majority of your NFTs are going to have common traits. They are not going to be rare. They are not going to be exclusive, because if the majority were rare, now they're really not rare, are they? So you want to be sure that your collectors, and this is who you really want to start buying into your collection and promoting your collection and your NFTs for you, you want to make sure that the rarity is very small. And you want the majority of your NFTs to have common traits. You can do rare. You can do very rare. You can do super rare. And some collections even do incredibly rare. So they do 4 different levels of rarity. You decide, what do you want your rarity levels to be? And those are the 4 main things that I want you to think about. So I'm going to be using this generative collection to really give you an idea of what I mean by characters, properties, and traits. The character itself, this character has these properties. If you go on to OpenSea and you click on an NFT, that is the character. And this is only for generative projects. This is not for one-of-ones. Keeping in mind, this is all about generative projects where you create layers and traits and properties, and those are put into software, which I talked about last week, the software that will then generate however many NFTs you've determined that you want. And this is a character. Here are the properties and the traits. And what I mean by properties and traits, when you're setting up the layers of your art, the properties are the layers. The traits are what those properties break down into. What I mean by that are properties are, for example, in OpenSea, properties are shown in these rectangular boxes. In blue, that is a property. In black, that is a trait. Below that is the percentage score of how many of the NFTs have this trait. This will give you the ranking, and this is where you end up with the rarity. Properties, always on top in blue. Traits, always below in black, but only on OpenSea. This may look different on Mintable, Foundation, Rarible, Super, wherever you're looking at collections. But when you're doing your folders, your main folder, for example, will say accessories. That is a layer. Main folder, property folder called accessories. Within that folder now there will be your additional folders of layers of traits, and that trait will be none. Or for example, the background will be a property and that trait will be orange. The body will be green. The body's the property, the trait is green. So I am going to pause for 1 second because that's a lot to take in. I'm going to go to us and I'm going to see, does anyone have questions about this? So Dale's question is, how is the Barbera NFT project progressing? Thank you for asking. Well, it's progressing quite well, as a matter of fact. Sal is doing a fantastic collection. I can't talk about it yet, but you're going to love it. And it's based on something that is huge out in the world, that people love, that people collect, that people go to events that have to do with it. So Sal is doing that.
Stop giving too many clues.
I am working on my Nifty Girls, Girlz, Nifty Girls, and Nifty stands for NFT. That's where I came up with that. And Girls is all about moms. So this entire project is based on a celebration of moms. And if you go to either Nifty Girls on Twitter or you go to Sherry Barbera on Twitter, you will get a complete breakdown of what Nifty Girls is all about, what it's based on, why I created it, and basically just what it's all about. Great. So how is the collection coming along? I think it's coming along really great. I've got a completely unique outline for my base character, and I think you're going to love it. And I'm doing something that I haven't seen before on any collection, any generative collection. So I'm hoping you'll love it and you'll want to invest in it and be a part of the collection. Okay, what other questions? So once you determine your layers and traits, numbers, and rarity factors, does a program generate the 10K NFTs? Yes, it does. And there are programs like Bueno that I went over, like NFT Art Generator that I went over in a previous video. They will tell you, yes, this is what you need to do to generate the NFTs. And what I love about Bueno is that you can rearrange things and you can make sure that everything looks good. All your layers are working on top of each other. And let's say that you've uploaded your layers and your traits, and you find that once you've got it working within one of the software programs like Bueno, but you don't really like one of the traits that you've created, you can literally delete it, make a new one, and upload that and regenerate the entire project. And I think that's a really cool feature of Bueno.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of the other ones do that. I don't know if once you've uploaded, that's it. Like you don't have a chance to re-upload. But Bueno does do that, and it's a super cool thing. I love that about it. Okay. I just answered your question. Okay. Any other questions? Please put them in the chat. Put them in the comments below, and I am going to keep going. Any questions?
I have no questions.
Okay. I'm going to keep going. This is properties. This is traits. Percentages are how many ranking of your NFTs in your entire collection have this. 67% do not have accessories. That's pretty massive. That is 2/3 of your collection don't have accessories, meaning only 1/3 of the collection have accessories. Interesting. That does sort of make NFTs with accessories already somewhat rare. Background, orange, 13%. That makes it somewhat rare, right? 13%, 22%, 3%. That makes it very rare. 3% is very rare. 2%, very rare. 6 and 9, 99% is like that. That's just so common. It's almost a yawn, right? So you pretty much know that they all have a nose in the shape of an L. And this is what gives you an idea of how this works out. Rare characters, properties, and traits. These in this collection are the rarest. Look at this. So the rarest of the rares doesn't even look like the regular characters. This is a dragon. This is a vampire. This is a character with a mushroom on his head. I don't know why that's super rare. This is a gold character, which I've used before. And then as we go through these rarest characters and you click on them, you'll see these are one of ones. And that is quite interesting because you don't want to do too many of those. You don't want to do too many one of ones. But this character, Fool's number 431, is a one of one within a generative collection. I don't know if you knew that you could do that, but you can create one of ones in a fully generative collection. And Bueno lets you do this, and I would imagine the other NFT software generators let you do this as well. And how that works is you literally pre-create this character, and it's called Golden Fool. You title it whatever you want to title it. And let me just pop to the next page so you see what I'm talking about. 0.09% have this trait. One of one Golden Fool. And this makes it in that category of super, super rare. Not rare, not very rare, super rare, super, super rare, because it is a one of one. And these are the things that you want to determine when you're creating your full collection. Again, this is Fool's number 429. Look at the properties. One of one, once again, called a crazy ape. 0.09% have this trait in the collection because it is super rare. And I'm just going to go back because I also wanted to point out, look at the price. 10 ETH. They're asking $31,000 for this super, super rare. Yes, super, super rare NFT. And if you go through this collection, which is Fool's, and I'm going to show you that collection online, this current price, 6 ETH, $18,000 for this one Fool, this Fool. And I'm not going to say anything about the fact that the collection is called Fool. Crazy Ape. And then there are a number of other characters that are also pretty high priced. This is 10 ETH, this Fool. And it's because the rarity on this one is actually not that much. I don't know why it's so much money. I think they just want to sell it for that much money because look, Mesh is 4%, Talking is 5%, Punk is 4%. So these are very low, very rare things, but then 67% have none, 99% have the L, 13% have the yellow, 16%. You know, this is interesting. So you want to be sure that you have enough variety within your entire collection that a lot of people, number one, can relate to it, can find an NFT that they can say, oh, wow, this looks like me, or this is my personality, or this looks just like my brother or my sister or my mom or my dad or my cousin or my best friend or my dog. Whatever it is that you want people to relate to, you want to be sure you have enough variety within your NFT project that a lot of people, a huge variety of people will look at it and say, oh, wow, I love that. I got to buy that one. And this is why it's massively important for you to have good properties, good layers, good traits, a good variety of traits. And properties can be, for example, what they are in this collection: accessories, background, body, clothes, eyes, headgear, mouth, and nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties, which is 8 layers, and then within each of those layers are traits. And look at the kinds of traits. There are so many of them. In accessories, there can be none, but there can also be whatever those accessories are. We know that 67% are going to come up with none, meaning that the balance are going to be more valuable, because they're not going to have as many of them, not have as many accessories. Background, orange, only 13% have this trait. Body, green, only 22% have this trait. Clothes, SF, Fools. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Eyes, spiral. I love the eyes. Headgear, golf, so it's a golf hat. Mouth, smirk. I mean, that's a really cute little mouth. It doesn't look like a smirk to me. And nose, L-shaped. And this is how you sort of begin to understand what are the layers, how do they work, how do I place them on there. I have a question here from Rob. I'm just going to go over here and look at that question. So Rob said, do you think it makes more sense to look at collections that have sold and use similar layers and characteristics, or try to be original? I think it's a fabulous, fabulous idea to look at lots and lots of collections that are popular, to look at rarities, to look at commonalities, to see what people have bought a lot of. Which NFTs are selling and reselling and reselling? Which NFTs have gone up in price dramatically, been traded quite a lot? Why are some of those characteristics more interesting to people than others? What is making people buy those? And then should you copy some of those? Why not? If it's something that resonates with you and works in your collection and you think you'd love to have it in your collection, why not? If it's pink hair, lots of people would do maybe pink hair, or maybe it's like all squiggly hair, or maybe it's a blue body or something like that. If you think it works perfectly for your collection, yeah. But then keeping in mind that you want the outline, the shape, the body, the base character in your collection to be unique. Keeping in mind that you don't want people to think, oh my God, I only saw, that look in this collection. You don't want people to reference necessarily somebody else's collection unless it's a really, really, really good thing. So great question. Thank you for asking that. And then next would be, what does this collection actually look like? So it's a 1,100 generative collection. They have 1,100 NFTs in this collection, probably using those 100 NFTs for giveaways, for promotions, for giving to their team, whatever, but smart to have extra ones. And then let's go and actually look at what this collection looks like if we were going to look at it on OpenSea. And this is what it looks like on OpenSea. I love their banner. Their banner is awesome. Remember that you have to create a banner. This is their little icon for the collection. Love it. Fool's NFT is the name of the collection. And below that, it shows you, let me just zoom in here. Fool's NFT created by fools_dev. There's 1,100 items in the complete collection, 671 owners, not bad. It hasn't sold out yet, but not bad. Floor price today, meaning the lowest priced NFT that you can buy at this particular second, is 0.11. And the volume traded in ETH. Now this symbol will show you what is the cryptocurrency that this particular NFT project is trading in. It is trading in ETH. 101 have been traded. That is the total volume. And if I zoom out, now you can look at this entire collection. Oh, the other thing that you can do, and I love this, and I'm sure you can do this on every marketplace, is you can click on this particular drop down right here. There's a little arrow there, click there, and you can change how this comes out. So if I click on the drop down, what are my options? Wow, look at all the options I have. Recently listed, recently created, recently sold, that's interesting. Recently received, ending soon. So if there is an auction of one of the NFTs, you can look at which ones are ending soon and make the highest bid if you're interested in that. Priced from low to high, priced from high to low. This is how you find out, number one, rare, and number two, what is really selling in the best price. Highest last sale, that's interesting. Most viewed NFTs. This is good for answering your question about where can I look in a collection to see what I might want to copy about a trait. Most viewed. That would give you an idea of what people are looking at that resonates the most in this particular type of collection. Most favorited, that's really important as well. And oldest. So we are going to look at high to low, and that will bring up, I just clicked on high to low, and I just want you to see these are the super rares, and that will bring up the super rares. But if I were to click on I'm just going to do that. Recently sold. This is going to show you the NFTs that have just sold the most recently. And this guy being the most recently sold one is right there. And now I'm going to go back to the slides and I'm going to keep going. So if you have any additional questions, let me just see if there's any questions there. I'm going to keep going. The next collection we're going to look at is called Fresh Fools. Similar name, right? Similar name, but very different looking character with very different properties and traits. So the base character, this is the outline of the base character. Very, very different from the Fools. This is what the Generative Project looks like, and most of them have a blue body. And I think that's probably inspired by Cool Cats, if you've looked at the Cool Cats collection. And you can see that they've done a lot with clothing. So clothing is very important in this. Hair things, head things, glasses, very important in this. What happens with this little hand, all of this kind of stuff, very important in this collection. If you go to their website, they have actually broken down how many traits, how many layers there are. So 360 properties plus traits. So they're not telling you how many traits there are, but you yourself can figure it out. How do you do that? Go back to the calculation I showed you. Understand that it's 1,100 NFTs. Do your multiplications backwards. There are 360 layers, properties. So now you can figure out how many traits there are. That's how you would figure it out. And then the Rarity Score. They actually put the Rarity Score right on their website for you to see. 40%.
Look how fun they made the Rarity Score.
And they made it super fun.
Yeah.
Now I have to say, the only thing I didn't appreciate about this collection is that they kind of ripped off Keith Haring, right? The artist Keith Haring kind of ripped him off. But I do find their colors fabulous. I like how exciting and imaginative the project looks. I like what they did. I actually like their website more than their NFT collection, which is kind of crazy. Their website, I think, is phenomenal. So you might want to go and look at Fresh Fool's website. This is an example of one of their NFTs, one of the characters. So this is a character. This is the description, and here are the properties. If we look closely at the properties and the traits, food hole, mocker, personality, chaotic neutral, rags, newspaper, scalp warmer. I mean, they have really fun names. They've created really fun names for their layers, separating them from just mouth, just background, just hair. So this is another thing you might want to think about when you're creating your properties and traits, your layers. You might want to think about, how do I do something like this that makes it a lot more fun for my buyers? Because you want to think about what is going to make things interesting and fun and exciting for your buyers. We can see there's a pencil in this mouth. We can see he's got a chef's hat. The hand is now holding something. There's a solid green background. What are the properties and traits for this guy? Food hole is a pencil. So food hole instead of mouth. Personality, lawful evil. Rags, rancher. Scalp warmer, that's the hat. Chef, soul windows, suspicious, so that must be the eyes, and world uncommon. And this just gives you an idea of what this would look like. I am going to now go to their website and just give you a peek at what their fun website looks like. I really love their website.
That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great. And this is at the very top of their website. You can click on About, Roadmap, Rarities, Team, Connect, Wallet that you can buy right from their website. And then they show you. They're on Twitter, they're on OpenSea, they're on Discord. And that's what these symbols are for. I love that they have this little bouncy sun here right over the world. And here's their base character right here. And then again, base character right here. Here's where they talk about this is what the project is about. You can read everything. Who are the fools? The fools result from an unfortunate experiment. You know, very, very cute. I like how they made it look like an experiment. That's a lot of fun. And then their community, which super rip-off of Keith Haring.
Oh, man.
Super rip-off of Keith Haring.
Yikes.
But a lot of fun. I like that they're making everything exciting to look at. Giveaways, merchandise. This is what they are doing for their community. Why should you buy their NFTs? Community wallets, social media, reforesting. So part of the funds, I guess, are going to go to reforesting, merchandise, online events, and giveaways. And they are showing you in the most fun fashion on their website why you would buy into them, how your collection will pan out in the future, what their roadmap is. And then here are their rarities, and here are their traits. And then you can look at and click on each one of these team members. I love how they drew their team members. I just think that's hilarious. Each one of these is a clickable link to their Twitter. And then this little guy down at the bottom here, if you click on that, that just takes you right back to the top of the page. Very clever website. And this is what their page, their collection page looks like on OpenSea. It's called Fresh Fools, and this is their collection. And if I zoom in, you can see they have 5,800, odd number, super odd number of their generative collection. Do you need to have a 10K collection? You do not. It can be any number, and it can be a weird number. I've seen 8888. I've seen lots of different things. So you decide what that number is going to be. 5,800 NFTs, that's what items are. 2,100 owners, very good, they're doing well. Floor price right now is 0.02. Volume trade is 645 in Ethereum. And again, you can go down here and you can click on whether you want to look at it priced from high to low. You can look at all of the different characters of the NFTs and what they look like. And if you were to click on an individual one, it will take you directly to that one. And if you click on that, you will see the character up close. And now, let's just go back to the slides and keep going. Are there questions about any of this that I've shown you so far? If they are, please put them in comments and in the chat, and I'm going to keep going. So, what do you need to do for creating your own NFTs? Well, if I'm in Photoshop, and let me just pull up Photoshop here. I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. I'm in Photoshop right now, and I'm just going to zoom out so you can see behind me are the layers. This is where the layers are up here, and this is my pre-created character shape, and I did that from the First Fools collection that we looked at. And if I go to my layers, I can turn off this layer just by clicking on the eye in Photoshop. I can also right-click this and duplicate this layer, and I can call it anything I want. So I'm going to call it base 2. And now I've got a base 2 character. Let's rename this one to base 1. And now I also have a background layer, which I want to rename to background. And then I can duplicate this layer and call it background trait. And do you see how easy it is for me to create more and more and more layers? So if I put this one under the base, which is the top one showing right now, I have this background color, and I go over to the side where I have my color block, and I click on my color block. Right, I have to just close that for a second. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be in that. Okay, so I've got yellow. Don't know why this is making it so hard for me. I'm going to click out of here for 1 second. This is my color block. And if I want to just change the color of that to white. Oh my goodness, I'm having a real problem with this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to change it to a bigger sample. For some reason, it's not letting me do this, and I don't know why. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to create a new layer. Well, now it's not letting me do that either.
Was it frozen?
I know, it's doing some kind of like weird Photoshop thing. So I think it's frozen. So I'm just going to escape out of it. And I'm going to go back to, I'm going to go back to us. In fact, yeah, I'm just going to go back to us and I'm going to see if I can make that work. I don't know why it's not working. That's really weird. So let me reopen Photoshop. Close that, reopen Photoshop. And then we'll go back to Photoshop and hopefully I can just show you what I want to show you. Okay. So we go over to colors. We're in layers. So I click on my layers. I want to, well, it seems to be frozen right now for some reason. Wow. Okay, my Photoshop froze. So I can't show you all the I can't show you all the things that I wanted to show you in Photoshop. I'm sorry, Photoshop keeps freezing for some bizarre reason. So what I'm going to say is when you're doing your layers and you are creating additional layers on top of an image, I am now going to go over to Canva so that I can show you what I'm talking about. And unfortunately, that did not work out, but this will. I'm going to go back to Photoshop and I'm going to show you in Canva. Okay, we're in Canva now, and I just want to show you what you can do with layers. And this particular image is one of my Nifty Girls. And it is a base layer of Nifty Girls. I am going to make a copy of it. And now I can do anything I want to it. And it shows you, did you see? I'm going to ungroup it. That all of these are individual pieces. Okay? So I have a nose. That is a layer. I have lips, that is a layer. And I just want to show you how you can layer with a base image all these different traits if you want to. Let's move her away. Every single one of these is a separate, can be a separate layer in Photoshop. So if I were doing this in Canva, and here is my base figure, and I want to change the color of her blouse, I literally can do this, or maybe her hair, I literally can do this up in colors right here. But what if I want to go up to elements, and I want to find flowers, and I go to graphics, and then I want to add a layer of flowers on her hair. But it's got to be its own separate layer. So if I were doing this in Canva, how would I do that? in Canva, I would come over to this little duplicate button and I would duplicate this, knowing, first of all, now I'm just going to select this and cut it. I have the perfect size. I have my girl in the exact right place. I can delete her. And now this layer is perfect because I know that the flowers are in the exact place that I want it to be. I can name this layer whatever I want the flower head or flowers for head. I can name it that if I want to. I can delete the size of the pixel page if I want to. I can make it, I can say that it is whatever I want it to be. It can be that kind of layer if I wanted it to be. I can do eyes. And typically in Photoshop, I would be drawing all of this for you, but I am just going to show you right now what this can look like if you were to do all of this in Canva. So you could do fun eyes like this, right?
Fun.
So you would duplicate this layer. You would
Easy
do
to make layers in Canva.
right? Super simple in
Super
Canva.
simple.
Delete the background
You label
base
each layer.
character. Now you have
Awesome.
eyes, and you can call these eyes looking eyes, and you know that you have this layer perfectly done. If you wanted to use these eyes and you wanted to download this, now here's the way that you can download everything. And here, just by going to share, going to download, we're gonna make it a ping. We are going to use it as a ping. Here's something super important, and you can do this in Canva. Select transparent background. We want a transparent background so that everything perfectly layers on top of each other without showing colors. So we don't want a white background. We don't want a yellow we want a transparent background. Yes, we do want to select transparent background. Do we want all 3 layers? If I select all pages, I can literally choose just one page or all 3 pages to download. And right now I'm going to say all 3 pages, but what if I just wanted page 2? Only page 2 would download. I click download and there it goes. It's downloading. When I click download, so there it goes. It's downloading to wherever I want it to download, and that is save all downloads. And then I can literally upload that into Photoshop. So you can see how you can use Canva with Photoshop or any program like Photoshop and create your layers in Canva. Super simple, so much fun. And then use that individual layer, like I just showed you, separately. So what if you wanted to do silly eyes like these? You could do silly eyes like these, or you could do fun eyes like this, and really make something that is very, very unique in Canva, upload it to Photoshop, create all of your layers, and then download all of the layers separately from Photoshop, and then you upload every single one of those layers back into whatever your software program is to create your generative art. And that is how you do your art layers. Are there questions about that? Because even though I couldn't show you in Photoshop, I have really shown you in Canva how you can create those individual layers. I would have drawn them in Photoshop, no problem. Showing you how you can do that in Canva using a transparent background, which of course you would also do in Photoshop. Doing all of your individual layers. So now you would just upload that layer right into Photoshop. You could change the color of it if you wanted to. You could change the size of it if you wanted to, and you could stretch it or drag it or whatever you wanted to in Photoshop. You can also do that somewhat in Canva, changing things like that in Canva. What is next? Well, how do you add your art to the generative software? This is the question, because now you've created all of these layers. You've created all of your properties. You've done all of your, I'm going to go to us for a second.
Okay.
You've done all of your rarities. Everything is set up for you. You're ready to go. what's next? What's the next step to that? Well, you want to upload to a software program and start generating your NFTs. And this is what we are going to be going over next time in the next video for NFTs. And it will be how to upload your unique art to create a generative project of your own that you can then put on OpenSea
Because
or
by next
wherever
week,
you want.
everybody will have all their art ready to upload.
Right?
Right?
I doubt it, but
Right?
you never know. So, yeah. So that would be great, wouldn't it? So, okay, if you're a newbie here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We love to have you as subscribers. And then you will be notified, of course, when we're doing our next video. And we hope you have gotten inspired by today's video about NFTs, how to create your own NFT art. And finally, it is us. This is us. And we are going to say thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video.
Make your NFTs. Make your NFTs.
Have
Make
fun.
art.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun making your NFTs.
I'm
Make your
having
NFT
a lot
art.
of fun. I
Yeah.
finally decided that I'm going to make something where I'm having a lot of fun.
And I think that is massively important. Is
And also, it's something that I love and am very into.
what your
Anyway,
collection is going to be about.
Exactly.
Yes, what your collection is going to be about. And that is a great way to think about what you want to make your collection about. What is something that you absolutely love, that you are really behind, that you want other people, that other people would resonate with, that you want other people to get into and collect, and that will promote for you. So all of this, keep all of this in mind when you're doing your own art. Thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video. Ciao. GN.